So let me get connected with the other network and then we're ready to start the session for today. Okay, so dear Dhamma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes for ourselves to become very clear with the practice we do here. So, when it comes to meditation, it is mainly we have to understand it's about mental practice. So when it comes to mind, it has a different way of behavior than we think. So even though we experience this physical world, underneath this all, this everything depends on the power of the mind. So that's why it's called the mind is the forerunner. Mind is the chief. Mind is the creator. But most of time, we don't see that. Most of the time, we don't understand, we don't recognize the very nature or the behavior of the mind. We more into these outside situations. So that's the very conventional lifestyle. Nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, this is the best time period for you to become a little bit more better and become advanced yourself. And rather than just go with this ordinary lifestyle little bit, go deeper and start to see beyond this physical and material experience, is there anything else? So as you know that that you went through this life, that you came through this life, and so whatever the experience that we go through, it's moment by moment change. And with the desires again and again, with the wanting, again and again, we look for something else. So this is never going to end. So then you can't just settle down with this conventional life, because there's no place to settle down like that. But if you get this opportunity and look a little bit what is beyond this, you may find something more better than this conventional way of experience. So meditation is a method that takes you to that level. So when it comes to that, today, I'm going to bring some basic information related to, especially with this meditation. And it is very important for all the practitioners. Long time ago, it's like 988, in India, there was a monk called Tilopa. So this monk, nowadays, that area called Bangladesh. So this Tilopa practiced meditation, and after that, he brought certain kind of techniques and informations to whoever practice meditation. So in India, in Tibet tradition, this Tilopa is a very famous, and at the same time, it's a very respectable, spiritual, enlightened master in that lineage. So when it comes to Tilopa, it is very famous that he talk about the 6 words of advice. And see another way it called the 6 steps towards spiritual liberation. And another way, the 6 points, or the 6 places we cross through the spiritual path. So I'm going to bring these 6 words of advice. It's very important when you walk in this spiritual path to know this path in different angles. So these 6 methods, the steps, the points, details that what he gave has a deeper way of meaning, and at the same time it directly challenges for our day-to-day practice. So that 6 words of advice, those are the first one is called don't recall. And the second one, don't imagine. Third one, don't think. The fourth one, don't examine. The fifth one, don't control. The sixth, rest. So those are the 6 words of advice by Tilopa, the very great spiritual leader. So the first one, don't recall. So as you know, this recalling, you may know that when you buy a vehicle, sometimes if it has a default, something, or maybe you go buy some consumer product, when there is some mistake, it's recall, it's called back from the company. This don't recalling, this all about our life, not about something. That's the important thing, remember that. So don't recall means don't try to bring your past to present situation. And don't try to get the help from your past to handle the present situation. So as example, you go through conversation and you have arguments. You want to prove that other person is wrong. So what happened? Then suddenly you don't have any evidence in the present situation. What you do? You recall some from the past mistakes that person has done. Remember, you have done this. Remember, you told this, that. So this recalling past is our nature. And it is about that outside situation. And most of time we recalling our own character, our own past. We bound to that. I am like this person. I used to be like that person. I always used to be this way. So like that, we recall our own past. So that's why the first rule it called, don't recall. So in day-to-day life, maybe it is difficult sometimes, but at least when you come to sitting and when you practice meditation, don't recall your past. Don't depend on your past. Don't bring that past experience to handle the present situation. So try to handle the present situation using the present evidence. And after that, you're going to be okay. If you can't that handle with the present situation, you have to accept the situation. So if you always try to bring the past experience, if you always recall the past situations, then what will happen? You little by little, you're going to become a prisoner to that. So don't recall. That's the first advice. So the second advice, don't imagine. So imagine here the projecting, that the regarding, that the future. So we always like to be with our imagination. So imagination has so much validation in our life. And sometimes it says that the power of the human mind is the power of that our imagination. In the Western world, that is how they explain. But when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, or when it comes to the meditation, when it comes to tranquility and vipassana meditation, the power of mind is not imagination. Power of mind is awareness, recognition. So that is 2 different things. In very conventional life, we always depend on our imagination. But when it comes to meditation, remember, don't develop that imagination, because your imagination is a kind of like an invitation for your samsara. So you are the one who write down that, you are the one who create that invitation for you. Why you do that? Your imagination is itself create a place for you to go in this samsara. For what? Because we already came through this samsara. We came through this journey, and it's just a journey, and there's nothing that we can gain. So for the future also the same. So then get out of the imagination, at least when you're in the practice. It is your own personal responsibility not to get into this imagination. So again and again, when you caught up in your own imagination, get out of it. When a situation comes, don't imagine regarding that situation. Go with the present moment of the evidence. So that's how you can settle down. Learn to go with the moment of evidence, that whatever you have within yourself. Otherwise, your imagination endless. It's the same like the universe. It can take you to any different direction. So you no need to create that. So the first one, don't recall. So that means don't bring the past to the present. And don't imagine. That means don't jump ahead to the future. And don't think. So here, what is that don't think mean deeply? It's a kind of like when a situation comes, out of that situation, we go round and round, up and down, and it's kind of like a whirlpool, and and it's kind of like a tornado. With one incident, we tangle and we create thoughts, ideas related to one incident, and bringing many ideas around it. And we create some kind of difficulty out of the moment of any experience. And we get into unnecessary complicated situation inside our mind. It make you more disappointed, unhappy, and it take you to the doubt. Because remember that this is very important. You have to understand. So try to listen and try to get it very clearly. Your brain has a very limited capacity. So the brain is always in survival mood. But your mind is so bigger than your brain. So the mind doesn't have that kind of limitation. But your thoughts more depending from the brain. So if you go with that pattern, what will happen? Always it will look for how to survive. And it always go with the repetition. It always look for some kind of satisfaction. But the mind is so more bigger than your brain, and the mind has so much capacity. It's like the nature of the water. So the mind has ability to adapt to any situation. But the brain has ability to survive. Brain doesn't have ability to adapt. When the brain cannot survive, what happened? It shut down. That's the very nature of our whole system that work with the brain. The nerve system, the muscles. When you can't handle the situation, you pass out. You shut down. The system shut down. Your physical has a very limitations. It always go with the environment. But your mind is more different than your brain. Mind has deeply go through. The mind has deeply power to go beyond the surface level. Mind has power, ability to access beyond the curtain. So the very thing, how you can develop into that, the mind or the brain, how the very difference with the mind and the brain, how you become more depending from brain and how you detach from the mind. This is the difference. Okay. When it comes to words, and you more bound to the words or the very meaning that you know, and you hold with that. So that is the way that you're going to be with your brain. But when it comes to the words, if you are capable to not to bound to the meaning of that word and go beyond that and see it without any self-centered idea or without any self-centered experience, you are capable to tune to the universal wisdom. So that is the power of the mind. As example, when it comes to hunger, just imagine that you can understand it according to your own experience. And for that, you have to have kind of like help from the words, that how much the words that you know, according to that, your understanding going to become different, because that is the nature of the brain. But when it comes to hunger, just imagine, as a dharma, as a worldly nature, the hunger itself, it's same to each and every living beings. It's a little bit different way of access. For that, you can't do it by brain. You have to have the mind. So lunch box, that your lunch plate, your dinner plate, your brain has ability to access to that related to it is your my lunch, my dinner plate. Your brain can maintain it, manage it, and hold it and protect it. And you can keep it very, very nice way. That's what your brain does. But when you go with the mind, it is so different. In that, your dinner plate or your lunch plate, you can see entire universal connection. You can see the contribution from the universe. You can see the contribution from the sun. You can see the contribution from the far away, some farmers, and you can see the contribution from that the truck drivers delivered it to market, and you can see that whoever that the people used to work in that market, and the blood, their sweat, their energy in your dinner plate. And not only that, your parents, your husband, your wife, your children work so hard and give up their own personal needs, facilities, and work so hard, earn some money and spend that and buy some food, vegetables, and bring it, and then cook it and bring it to plate. And now in front of you, you see your dinner plate, but it is not just the self-centered moment of experience. It is a universal experience. So that is the difference with when you go with the mind and the brain. But in a very short term, to survive, we need the brain, we need these all organs. But at the same time, if you just become comfortable with that, you're not going to grow deeper level. So that growth happens when you transform from brain to your mind, from just word to deeper, the higher, the complete meaning. Not the meaning just carried by the word related to the environment or the moment. So when it comes to the mother or the father, that, or the child, or the husband, wife, you can personalize that word to relate it to whoever the person around you. But just imagine when it comes to motherhood, when it comes to the fatherhood, that the meaning of the mother, you can't bring it to words. Words not enough to explain the very nature, the very meaning of the mother, that you can't explain by words the very meaning of the father. It is totally different. But when you tune to the mind, you are capable to grab that, understand that. But if you go with the brain, you can't. You can get some kind, it's kind of like you can touch the shadow, that's it. So that's why here it said, don't think. That's why this Tilopa, this spiritual master, in his 6 words of advice, it's mentioned as the third advice. Don't think. What does that mean? Deeply. That's mean, don't be limited to your brain. How beautiful it is. Try to access to your mind. So that's why when it comes to your practice in day-to-day life, in certain situations, and don't try to develop this thinking ability, thinking pattern, because you become very limited to the words. And the 4th one is very important. It's don't examine. So here, what is that don't examine means? Because that when it comes to Vipassana level, it mentioned that to develop the examine nature, develop analytical mind, examine deeply. But here, this Tilopa, in his 4th advice, it's mentioned, don't examine. What is that? Because it is not about that what is the Vipassana level of examine. Here, this is in the very conventional level of examine. Why it say don't examine? Because most of time we get into examine when we have the disturbed mind. That's why. So otherwise, in a very conventional life, if you are come to very tranquility mind, you're not going to examine anything because you are capable to see things as it is. When you are capable to see things as it is, there is no need to examine about it. So when you come to examine something, what does that mean? Itself in the beginning that you are already got disturbed out of that experience. So when you are disturbed, out of that disturbed mind, when you try to examine, you're not going to get the right result. So that's why when we go towards this tranquility meditation, tranquility state of mind, this is very important. Calming down and just settle down with the whatever the primary mental object is very necessary. So because once you calm down, you're going to go to different level of nature, different level of recognition. So in that level, it is totally different. But before we go into that, in the very conventional level, is always, if we try to examine something with the disturbed mind, we never going to find the clarity. And if you have the undisturbed mind, you're not going to examine because you have the tranquility mind. See the difference. So that's why it's very, very, deep that when he mentioned that here, these all 6 points, as the fourth one, that don't examine. And so now you have to be very clear what it means. And the fifth one, don't control. So that's also very important, because sometimes people, when it comes to meditation, sometimes people say, it's controlling mind. Who control who? So you control your mind. What does that mean? How you can do that? So if you control your mind, that means you are different, your mind is different. And then it develops the self-centered mind again and again. And then you deeply inject to your subconscious mind, there is somebody. And what we can control? Just very simple things, can we control our body? And we may that we bring these words like remote control. And this control words, control board. Those are the things that manipulated that inside us also. But it doesn't make that, you control it. It's totally different when you go to the very connotation of the control. And when you go into the very mechanism of remote control, it is totally different. It's like we play kind of like a word game to cheat ourselves. That's what happens. It's like sugar-free. There's not, that whatever you eat, maybe it's a sugar-free. It's not like that. It's sweet, you can't, get out of the sugar. If it is something sweet, sugar should be there. Without sugar, sweet can't exist. And another thing that nowadays a lot of people, so passionate about this white egg. So when it comes to egg, they some take out the yellow. But the thing is, without yellow, there's no egg. So the egg means it should have the yellow. And if you take out the yellow anymore, you can't name it as the egg. So it's like the fat, fat-free milk, butter, So it cannot be there like that. Only these words, we try to head massage ourselves and kind of like a feel good. So like that, remember, there's nothing that you can control in this universe. So that's why don't try to even use this word regarding in day-to-day things. We can maintain things. We can handle things. We can associate with things, but we can't control. So what you can control inside you, even you don't know who you are, even you don't know what is happening inside this body, you don't know. No, I don't know. You don't know. And you have no idea what's happening even in in this inside this skin, in a little bit, like 1 inch. We don't know. We have no idea. So then how we can control? If we don't know who we are, if we don't know what is happening, how we can control it? So then if you don't know who you are, you can't control you. If you don't know who you are, how you can know your husband or the wife or the children or the parents or the brothers, sisters or the animals or the plants or anything? How you can? Because you don't know what it is. So if you don't know what it is, how you can control it? You can't. So then we have this wrong idea about controlling mind. You can't. So don't go in that way. When you go in that way, what will happen? We manipulate. We going kind of like a wrong way. We get into unnecessary tangles. Puzzle bits. Everything become a puzzle. And one day you become so unhappy, sad, worried, disappointed. Why? Because one, you believe, oh, I can control, I controlling, and one day you recognize, no any result, nothing happened. Everything came against you. So that day you become so unhappy. So don't try to control anything. Just let things to be there as it is. That's the best. Not controlling, not overtaking. We can't. So don't go there. Even just as idea, it is a very wrong way of idea. Look at the humanity, look at the history. Look at how people try to control the people or the nations or the world or the environment. Look what's happening. Where are we going? Where are we heading? So that's why, bring the harmony. Be with it rather than controlling. It is totally different. So then in the very first level, you have to remember, with whatever the thoughts come to you, don't try to control. Don't try to push away or hold it. No, just let it be. So that is the power that you develop. Let anything to be. And once you allow it to settle down, you're going to recognize it's a totally different way of nature. So that's why I don't get into control, this idea of control. And the sixth one is resting. That's very necessary. The physical rest and the mental rest. That is important. The resting. And sometimes we have the physical rest, but mentally we are so into things. Blah, 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 blah. So always into things. The mental rest is art. It's not just being silent. Mental rest is, so when you get out of that, all the desires, the wanting, and you will find the rest. And the one thing, when it comes to this mental rest, remember this, whatever that come to your mind, even though it appear on the surface level as something, there is another intention behind that thought. So the resting means you don't mix another intention with your moment of thoughts. That is resting. So try yourself. You don't have different another intention to the moment of thought. If you look very carefully, you will see that whatever the thoughts arise in us, if you look very carefully, there is a different intention. And you go a little bit back, there is another different intention. So like that, desires. It's even not a one thing, many. Even we don't recognize. That's why the mental formations or the sanskara or the history always push us forward, and now we have no power even regarding holding to the present moment. So that's why through this meditation, it allows you to see that. So the greatest spiritual master was in India and in the present Bangladesh, and gave this 6 words of advice. And it was a very great and a deeper level of meditation practice, especially when it comes to tranquility state. So first one is don't recall. That means don't remind your past, don't bring it to the present, and don't imagine, don't project, don't go to the future, and don't think. That means don't empower your brain, forgetting your mind. Just try to settle down with the mind, because mind is the power. Mind is the forerunner, not the brain. So try to be with the mind and access to mind. It bring more space for you. And don't examine. That means don't go with the disturbed mind to look something, and don't control. So don't have this self-centered idea to overtake something or manipulate something or interfere to any nature. Just allow everything to be there as it is. And finally, get into the rest. So the rest means let whatever the experience be in that very moment. Don't get the help out of your any desire behind that experience. So that way you get into the complete rest. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit ourselves now. So your right palm on your left, neck get straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. Bring attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say Sopateva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment. This is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. And detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. When it happens through the sensation, recognize it, do nothing extra. If your mind go here and there, bring it back again and again and just settle down. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this with clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest, wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata chammihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi Addaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam paribunjisami Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.